Hey guys, Zach here, and today I'm going to be redoing this ugly jungle tank. Now, there are a couple of problems with this tank, and that's the reason I want to do it. The first is you can see this giant thick mat of floating plants all along the top, and you can see that the duckweed is caking onto the glass as well. This does two things. It takes away nutrients from all the other plants, and it also blocks light from getting down into the bottom of the tank, and this is very problematic, so I do need to adjust this when I do rescape the tank. Now, the second issue with this tank are these two big roots right here that I have spray foamed onto the side of the glass. They do look very good, however, they do take up a lot of light and create very big shadows, which plants just can't grow in unless it's a crypt or something that's much taller. So instead, to fix this, I'm going to go with a nice centralized scape. I am about halfway through emptying this tank, and you guys can see that it is just a lot brighter in this tank without those logs and without the duckweed. I haven't adjusted the lighting at all, but you can see that just a lot more gets down to the bottom without those hindrances. Now, with the tank about 90% empty, I'm just going to move on to the next step from here. I'm leaving water in the bottom for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that there are a lot of shrimp in here, and I don't really feel like catching them out because they are quite the hassle to catch out, so I'm just going to let them roam around as I'm scaping and they'll be perfectly fine. The second reason is that this substrate is absolutely teeming with beneficial bacteria, and I wasn't sure how long the scape would take, so I didn't want to drain it all the way and possibly kill off a lot of that bacteria. Leaving this much water just ensures that the bacteria is going to stay alive and I can have a thriving ecosystem pretty much from the get-go with the tank. The first thing I did to start the new scape was just pour in a bag of sand. This is going to do two things. First, it's going to clean up the front area and make it look a lot nicer and a lot prettier, much cleaner, and that's where you're going to be looking most of the time with this tank. The second reason is that it also traps in that layer of loam as well as all those other dead organics, and that is going to be perfect for plant food, so I don't need to go out and worry about fertilizing the plants for quite some time. My goal with this rescape is to create a beautiful scape that doesn't hinder the plant growth, so the best way to do that is to keep the scape simple, and I'm just going to start with this big piece of wood as a center point of the tank. Keeping simplicity in mind, I just grabbed a couple of the larger round river stones that I've got, and I placed them in the tank just to add a little bit more depth to the scape, as well as placing them on the back roots is going to ensure that this stump isn't going to float anytime soon. Moving on to planting, there were a couple of goals I wanted to achieve with this. The first goal was just to plant everything that was in the previous scape back in this tank, which was very easy as I had a lot more room to work with. Even though it doesn't look like it, there was a lot more available substrate for planting. After I got all of the previous plants into the tank, I could start to add new stems of everything. My second goal in this tank was just to create a little pop of color here and there to create points of interest, and that was easy enough with a couple stems of rotella. My final goal with planting in this tank is to use some of the stems to create a backdrop, and this will be easily achievable with Val. With the tank planted, all that's really left to do is let it grow, so I will catch you guys back in about a month. 2 months later, and the tank is looking really good. I know I said I would be back in about a month, however, the growth that I wanted to see just wasn't happening in that month, so I decided just to give it a little bit more time and let it grow out, and I'm really happy that I did. The biggest change in these 2 months is going to be on the rotellas. As you can see, any rotella that was red is now starting to turn green, and that is because there is a lot less CO2 in the bottom of the tank than towards the top of the tank, and the red color just won't show until it gets closer to the surface again. In these 2 months, the shrimp have obviously been very busy in this tank, as every surface I look at, there's just shrimp on it, and they are taking over this tank, which I'm not complaining about. I love these shrimp. In this tank, it's a mix of shrimp as well as some bluegrass guppies. I am super happy with how this tank turned out. I think it is a very big step up from the previous scape, and I'm super excited to see how this tank is going to grow in. So that is everything for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.